Hello, ladies, and welcome to the sexy side of menopause. I'm Beverly with Beverly Hills Health and Wellness Coaching, and your podcast host of the sexy side of menopause. I show up here every month with amazing guests, and every time I show up, I want to say, "This is amazing, phenomenal, most amazing woman you have ever seen." And I want to say, this person, this individual, she's elevated to the space of goddess. So, ladies, I want to introduce to you. She has an Empress Angelique. I know her as Angelique. She is a person that I met in a very high level program years ago. And she just feels like a soul sister. Like from the moment I met her, we were sitting side by side, all connected.
Oh, yes.
We had lunch together, and she just shared so much, and I was just moved by her story, by who she is, and since then, the
Mhm.
amazing things that she has been doing. I've been seeing her online, and I'm just like, I have to be close to you in your space. Like, will you come on my podcast? So, ladies, she is here. I present to you Empress Angelique. Hi there. Welcome to the Sexy Side of Menopause.
Greetings, all greetings. How are you? I am so excited to be here with you today. It's just so great to see you and to spend this time with you. I'm so honored to be on this amazing podcast that you have curated. I've watched your journey over this I think you've had your podcast for a little over a year now.
Yes.
And you have done amazing work. So thank you for seeing the light in me so that I can be here on this podcast with you.
Well, thank you. So let's just jump into it. You feel like you stepped out of Egypt to me, and you literally have been traveling a lot. So let's talk about your life and what you're doing. And I think there was a launch of your business where you had opened a retail store. And let's talk about that. I am
Mhm.
going to make it a priority to get to visit you because you're in California. I have family in California. I need to make this happen.
Yes, I am in California for now. I am in California, and it has been so many different evolutions since we spoke. I remember when we had connected years ago, and I had talked about I was just opening up a new location of my wellness center, and that was in Venice, in California. It was a wellness center, retail space, holistic retail space, as well as events and so many things. And it was an amazing space. Then I opened up another space in South Central LA, and since then, so much has shifted. So many things had shifted, and that's a part of life. In this journey, it's like when you're on this journey of evolving and consistently evolving, there are times in which your vision of what you see may be limited, but the most high's vision is so much more expansive than what you can ever realize. And so when you're trusting and you just move in that trust, and I always say that I move with spirit and I let spirit move me. And so when spirit says, this is where you're moving towards, I just go, okay, this is the next evolution of this journey. So it went from having that space in Venice. And I remember in the last year that I was in the Venice space, so much was happening. My dad was terminally ill. And then my kids all decided they were going to leave the West Coast and move over to the East Coast. So they all live in New York now, and became an empty nester. But then my amazing divine partner came into my life. It was like all of this stuff was happening in this one year, in this short span of time. And so I was sitting there and reflecting on how this evolution was happening. And so I remember I would never forget the day that I walked into my space. into the wellness space in Venice. And I walked in there and I looked around and I remember I had dropped to my knees and I was like, there's so much that's happening. What is it that I'm being called to? And so what I heard very loud and clear is that it's time for you to really delve deeper into your wisdom, into your knowledge, into your knowing. It's time for you to travel. It's time for you to free yourself because you've done all the work that you needed to do within this community. And now it's time for you to expand and share your wisdom and share your knowledge and start teaching and guiding others on how to really live life in this cycle of life. Especially, in my 50s, it's like, all right now. What is this cycle of life sharing and teaching me? So all the pieces of the puzzle was unfolding to where the space that I had, the owners were they were going through where they wanted to sell their portion of the building to their previous partner. And so they gave me an out
Mhm.
where I can leave my lease in the Venice location and leave that lease without any repercussions or anything, as if my lease was ending, as if the term of my lease was ending. And so I did that. And then I moved into the space in South Central LA, which gave me more flexibility. And it also gave me a time to where, because it was a co living space where I can live and do my work, my sacred work, but I was able to sit and grieve because my dad had made his transition in that winter of that time. And I needed to sit still. I needed to pause. I needed to really reflect on how do I really want to live this portion of my life. And when I got more clarity around that, I realized that it was time to close the physical doors of the work that I was doing and open the virtual doors. And that's what I heard loud and clear. And so I relaunched my website, my elevated my business. I actually took everything offline and I just went through and said, okay, what am I going to do now? What am I not taking with me next? And I opened up my life coaching certification program academy, as well as my coaching programs, delve deeper into my retreats, my well-being retreats, and doing pop-up events around the world and speaking engagements and those things. And so that's where I've evolved to now. And I'm now just getting off of traveling the month of August going in so many different locations, but also facilitating an amazing well-being retreat for women in Morocco. And so now I'm here in California, and I'm and I'm moving into like the next retreat in Costa Rica for in October. So yeah, it's a
Wow.
lot.
I am blown away how much
Yeah.
you have done in that short period of time. And as I'm listening to you talk, it is truly the menopausal journey and stepping into that sexy side of menopause because
You
what
know.
you have done, you got quiet and you listened.
Mm-hmm.
There was an
Mm-hmm.
intuition that was calling you to move into another space. And
Mm-hmm.
I totally get that because I would say most of my life has been following the success model that society
Mm-hmm.
has. You do these things, check the box, get the degree,
Check
get
the
the
box.
job, get the six
Yeah.
figures, get the house, the kids, like all of those things. And then you feel like, okay, I've accomplished a lot, but there's a void, there's something missing.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
truly believe it is because menopause comes along and it's a gift to get us to take care of us by sitting
That part.
quiet, listening to that divine voice, and stepping into
Mm-hmm.
that next phase of life. And you have gone from, starting in a space to serve people in a very physical place. Now
Mm-hmm.
it's like omnipresent. It's very, very spiritual because you're working with people virtually around the globe. So you're
Mhm.
touching more people, and
Yes.
especially the women who can go through retreat, because that's the space that I'm leaning into next. I have spent much of my life going into personal development, even from the youngest of stages. My dad was
Mhm.
a minister, and we used to go to these religious retreats, and sometimes you could stay over as a kid for a couple of weekends or something. So it was
Mhm.
always this space where you can go and be and listen and have these downloads and have people of wisdom teach into you. And that's always stayed with me. And I never really understood why I was always in that space, but now it totally makes sense. And what you're
Mhm.
doing is equivalent to that. You're
Mhm.
serving these women, they go through a transformation once they come into a space like your retreat.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. And when I realized that, because we go through all of these different cycles, and what I call is when it's time to surrender and pause, it doesn't mean that you're not in action. Stillness doesn't mean that you're not still doing work that supports your evolution and your growth. What it means is that you're just taking a sacred moment to pause, really get clear, understand what's happening, understand like where you need to shift, what are the things that you need to burn away and let go of, what are the things in which you need to transmute and elevate, because we get comfortable sometimes, and we get comfortable in the way in which we're doing things. And by the time we reach a part of our lives in which it says it's time to move, we start to feel this fear or this doubt or this angst and these uncomfortable feelings. But those feelings are your triggers. Those are your awakening. That's your time to say, okay, let me pause and sit still so I can see what's no longer serving me so that I can move into what is serving me. And in I would say, well, one, being in this cycle of menopause in all of its glory, in our glorious golden 50s and above.
Yes.
It's like it's really shown me what it is to be patient. It's shown me what it means to really evaluate the programming that was imparted upon us to say that this is the model of success. This is what success looks like. I know I was on that hamster wheel. I was in corporate for many years, climbing the corporate ladder, doing all the things, checking off the list. I was like, oh, okay, I have the house and I have the car and I have the six-figure income and I'm doing all of these things. But there was a void. There was something internal within me that was saying, no, there's more. This is just wisdom that is helping you so that when you move into that light of what it is that you are here to do, that is when you can really skyrocket. And so I give gratitude to that journey, and I'm really grateful for it. I take all of that knowledge and that wisdom along with me. So when I'm supporting my clients and them discovering what it is that they want to do when they're designing their ideal life of what it is that how they want to live right now, we take all of that. We reflect on all of those things because it doesn't mean you throw everything away that you've done and that you've accomplished. I have a plethora of degrees and
Certifications and
in
everything, right?
certifications and all the things, but it all serves a purpose in the evolution and in our ascending to our next self, into our highest self. And so I support women when it comes to understanding that journey, that you don't always have to let everything go. There are some things we do have to let go of because we get real comfortable. But like in life, everything goes through cycles. The moon goes through cycles. Our menstrual goes through cycles. Our evolution and growth as women, we go through cycles. And so, as you're cycling into a new aspect of your life, you have to then evaluate, let me cycle out the routines and things that's not serving this part of my life and cycle in the things that are. And so that takes reflection, it takes being awakened to it and then aligning to it and then activating it. So I have a three part framework when it comes to what the work that I do is awaken, align, and activate. And so you have to awaken to the things that needs to be moved, removed, and or transmuted or shifted and changed. And then evaluating your rising routines, evaluating your daily rituals, evaluating all the things so that you can be in alignment with what's now. And so that you can just be able to live and be free. I mean, I am living in the most divine, most exciting, most amazing aspect of my life right now. Being connected to my divine right partner, traveling with him. Yes, we had our retreat in Morocco, but we went to Paris beforehand. I love Paris.
I'm all for Paris.
You
You
went
know
to
that, girl.
Paris.
Yes.
And so being in Paris and experiencing Paris, being able to, and that was my second time in Paris. The first time I spent a whole summer in Paris, and that was back in, that was like about 5 years, 6 years ago, maybe a little bit more than that. But it was such an amazing experience. And then going from Paris, we went to Malaga, Spain, and was able to experience that part of the world. Then went into Marrakesh, Morocco for the retreat, and then went to London to visit some friends. And then back here, and now preparing for Costa Rica, and then for Egypt's retreat in December. And so, this is what I've always have felt within me. My family always said I was like a little gypsy. That's like, are you gonna stay anywhere, anytime? For a long extended period of time, because I always felt this pull to travel and to explore and experience the vastness of this amazing world that we live in, experience other cultures, experience other ways of living, experience the sacred lands that our ancestors walked on. And so for me, I'm living that now, and I'm in such gratitude for that.
Yes.
Mhm.
You know, that's why we connected so deeply because everything that you're saying, I literally feel that is what my purpose is as well. I have been traveling the globe for 40 years. 40
Mm.
years I've been traveling the globe. And I remember when
Yes.
I used to travel, I didn't really find other people that connected to that conversation. It's like most people say, I just want to go home and sit in front of the television. I'm like, no, no, no. Where's the passport? There's
No.
so much of this world to see. And then having this
Listen.
conversation with you, and we're talking about something that really lights us up and what
Hmm.
we can do to support women
Yes.
as we look at our lives and we think about, for me, the runway that's ahead, it's like, okay, I've done a lot of amazing things, but there's still runway ahead for me to do some awesome things. I'm
Hmm.
still here to do work. And my
Yes.
work, I feel like, is to go global and share this message
Yes.
of the sexy side of menopause,
Come
doing
on.
retreats to bring women in a space where they can be supported, they can be grounded, and
Hmm.
also be able to be the best version of themselves despite what society is saying. And that's
Exactly.
a message to me that I'm really working hard to
Hmm.
challenge, because if you let somebody else define who you are at this stage, you're giving
Hmm.
your power away. And that's
Exactly.
counterintuitive to who we are at this stage of our life, because we're able to be more powerful. We're very wise, and we're able to tap into the intuition that had been, I guess, dormant because we've been busy doing things in jobs and taking care of community. Like we weren't just sitting still and taking care of ourselves.
Right. And that's one of the beautiful things about when you awaken to this aspect, and then when you have people like you and I who are sacred guides. I never say that I'm a healer. I'm here to help you heal. I'm here to help you evolve. I'm here to help you to expand and really step into the life that you desire. And so we're needed. because I know along my journey when I was searching and I was going through these transitional moments and things, I needed mentors. I needed guides. I needed a coach or someone who can support me as I'm navigating. We are the torch, the light, as they're navigating through the darkness because they don't know what direction to go into, but we can see further than what they can see because it's very difficult when you are in the midst of your transition to see the road ahead. And so we get to be that navigation to support them in that. And so I am just so incredibly grateful for being in this cycle. And I truly believe like when we're in this cycle, we're in our cycle of wisdom. You
Yes.
know, we are
Yeah.
in our cycle of knowing, we're in our cycle of understanding in having these things and being able to not say, okay, this is my end of life. No, this is a rebirth of a new part of my life, of an elevated part of my life. And
Amen.
so this is the
Yes, yes,
time
yes.
where, we can still be like all va va boom and
The
sexy
sexy
and
side over
doing
here,
all
ladies.
the
Don't
and
let them
doing
cheat
all the
it
amazing
out of
things.
you.
It doesn't
Right.
mean right. It doesn't mean that we have to just sit and be. Now, if that is what you desire, then that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. If your desire is to be at home and be in stillness or be just in your community, live it to your most and highest aspect. What I'm saying is that whatever you desire, bring that forth. And I think that's what's really important in this journey is that as I'm in this part of my life is that I see that more clearly. I see how everything that I've gone through and experienced doesn't mean that I'm in my end of life. It just means that I'm in my elevated aspect of life. And these are like some of the most beautiful time of my life, being able to travel and being able to be free. Because that's where I really that's where my spirit lives. It's just that freedom and that expansion. So
And that's where menopause comes in as well.
mm,
It is shifting things within your body that you don't need to move further in the next phase.
mhm,
Also, your life as a woman is changing in society because you're not working 40 hours a week or more, depending where you
mhm.
are. I'm in the DC metro area. There's no such thing as a 40-hour week. This is also
I'm in LA. There's no such thing as a 40-hour week.
This is also a time that your children are possibly leaving home and starting their own families, so you're empty nesting and you're able to define your life. This is also a time that relationship changes a lot. The percentage of women that
Yes.
go through relationship changes is just well beyond the 50%.
Beyond. It is
Yeah,
beyond. And it's
yeah,
it's changes, shifts in not only your romantic relationships, but there's shifts in your sister hood
yeah.
or your friendship circles and your the people who you want to align with your business. It all starts to shift depending on how you evolve. Sometimes we get stuck. And what I've noticed is that sometimes as women, we get so loyal and we get loyal to the point of where we are chipping away our own light. And
Yes.
so that's not where we're supposed to live. We're not supposed to live to where we're chipping away our own light. We're supposed to allow our light to expand and grow, and those around us support that as well to where they're illuminating and we're lighting up the whole universe. We're lighting up everything, every room, every area, every place that we walk into because we're walking in our individual divine light, but we're also walking in our collective divine light. And so that's where I think you and I really connected. It was like we would have those conversations and I was like, she gets it. I love it. She gets it. She gets it 100%. And so I'm really grateful for that and for this just this conversation because I think that we need to have more conversations like this because as we are in this as you call it, like the sexy side of menopause. It's like we're really living portals that mirror what it means to live authentically, what it means to live abundantly, what it means to shift into our highest, most divine self. Is what it means to be in alignment spiritually with your inner spirituality in whatever system in which you connect to. This is our initiation into our wise woman phase, our phase of just supporting those who are coming after us, paving that way to where the roads are a lot smoother for those who for the generations to come. And so
Mhm.
I'm in gratitude for this and this conversations that we're having and this
I
alignment.
appreciate so much that you get this because one of the things that I'm seeing is women who feel they're less than because they're
Mm.
aging.
Mhm.
And I don't want to impose something on anyone, but I want to educate and inform, and you make your own
Mhm.
decisions. But for myself, I embrace aging. I feel like
Mhm.
it's a blessing. The
It is
alternative
such a
is like you're
blessing.
not here. And if
Mhm.
you're here, there's something you need to do. And
Exactly.
understanding like what your body is asking for so you can
Mhm.
transition, step into whatever that next phase is powerfully. And there was somebody that was in our group, I remember many years ago, she had this phrase, everybody can't go sis. And as you're going through this transformation, people will fall off.
They will fall off.
Some people can't go. You're elevating and tapping into a level that you need to be in strong so you can help bring people along. So we
Exactly.
look at aging. For me, I embrace it. And in addition to that aging, there's that wisdom that comes along. You're stepping into elderhood. It's the
Mhm.
crone. But
Yep, the chrome.
unfortunately, the patriarch has looked at that and demonized it and just like we're not understanding our power and who we truly are.
Mhm.
We are so phenomenal that we can disrupt life as we know it if we all collectively got together and moved in this power as we're going through our crownhood.
Exactly. Because that triple goddess is powerful. That phase when we're going through and moving into our crone phase, it's like that's the magic. It's so much magic in this phase. It is so much beautiful brilliance in this phase. And so aging is my great grandmother, my grandmother, especially my grandmother, my nanny, and I speak of her many times because she was my everything. I just looked up to her when I was young because growing up I would see her and she would defy what age was. She's like, age is nothing but a number. My energy, my spirit, and everything. When she walked in the room, she illuminated the room. She would kick off her heels and run the streets and be, running with the young people and doing double dutch with us and just living life. And I think that was my first experience of understanding that age doesn't mean that you're old and outdated or that is your life has ended. She embraced all aspects of her life and she enjoyed all aspects. So that imprinted upon me that when I reach that level of my life, I'm going to be the same way to where life is abundant and there's so much to do and so much to see and there's so much to offer, not only from the gifts that we have to the world, but also what the world has to offer to us. And so being in this phase just means that we are in a phase of really being able to be more honest with ourselves and with others, being able to say, I don't want to live that anymore. And in those cycles that wasn't serving us, being able to really stand in our power to say that I am moving and reclaiming all aspects of myself. Because I think sometimes along our journey as women, we lose parts of ourselves. we lose it to the identities in which we are clinging on to, and we forget who we truly are and who we came into this incarnation to be. And so this phase is, as we moved into this phase, into this divine aspect of the crone, we're evolving into our highest empress energy, our goddess energy. We're more visible in our embodiment. We're more in alignment with our standards and our values, where we take action as devotion, not as something that we have to do to check off the things on our checklist. It's like we become more sovereign, and we're able to lead with more presence, and being able to lead with more wisdom and more light and more understanding. And we know that it starts with us first, and we pour into what's in our from our overflow. And so this is a phase of just pure joy and living, like
Yes.
really living.
Yes, yes. It's a spiritual awakening. It's like
Mhm.
going through that metamorphosis of the caterpillar being in the chrysalis and coming out the
Mhm.
butterfly. That's exactly
Mm.
what's happening. And that
Yes.
process, if you see it inside, is very overwhelming, because you literally have to liquefy and come to a form that doesn't exist, to shape into and transform into that butterfly.
Right.
And you
Mhm.
can't pry the chrysalis open and let the butterfly free. You have to allow that allotted time for that transformation to take place. And that's what's
Exactly.
happening to us as we go to this postmenopausal side of our lives. We've gone through
Right.
transformation, and we're the butterfly. We are in another stage of
Mhm.
life. We're not who we used to be. We're not.
No. We're not. We're not. It's not that who we used to be is erased, but it's a because it's always going to be a part of us, but we have evolved beyond that. I think where people get stuck is when they resist
Yes,
allowing themselves to emerge from the chrysalis, when they resist and they want to just stay in that cocoon. And so they resist their transformation. They resist their, what I call, it's not so much of just the transformation, but it's their arising into what they've always been, because the caterpillar can't has always been the butterfly.
right, right,
It's
right.
always been the butterfly. It needed to go through its journey to see itself as that. And through life, we go through this journey to see ourselves as this beautiful butterfly that we are and that we've always been. But we have to allow ourselves to emerge from that chrysalis. That means letting go of what is comfortable in that moment, when you know internally, when you feel it, because we feel it as women. We are very intuitive, and we can feel when something is not in alignment, when it's not in harmony. It shows up in our mental body, our emotional body, our spirit body. It starts to show up in our physical body when you're not in alignment. And so those are just sacred messages. They're messengers to tell us and awaken us to, it's time to release some things. So that means the art of surrender. It means the art of stillness. It means the art of being able to just pause and know that, in that knowing that you will emerge, and you'll emerge beautifully, and are able to just spread your wings and fly and be that beautiful butterfly that you've always been. And so when you embrace this part of your journey, it allows you to really feel more freedom and
Yes.
more joy and more happiness. And some of my clients, they're just like, I feel sexier now than I did in my
There
20s.
you go. The sexy side of menopause is so
It
true.
is. It's like I feel more alive now than I did before. And it's like, yeah, because you're walking in your truth, in your authenticity. You're walking in that knowing of who you truly are. So it's a beautiful journey. And there's a beautiful reclaiming of our divine essence, of our just of our beauty, our internal beauty, and our connection all of this beautiful life that surrounds us. So being in gratitude of that is really pivotal.
Yeah, yeah. You know,
Yeah.
one of the things that I think about as you're talking is like you must have some amazing practices to keep you
Mm-hmm.
in this place of love and light, the way you move, the way you be. You want to
Mm-hmm.
share a little bit of that with the ladies because sometimes, we might wake up in the morning and jump out of bed and try to tackle this to do list, but you have to serve yourself so you can go
Mm-hmm.
out and serve the world. So let's talk a little bit about what your routines and rituals are like
Yeah.
because I know they are things that we need to incorporate on our side.
Yes, there are some things, and it's interesting because a lot of times when I share my story or when I talk about like what my rituals are, people go, "Oh, well, that's easy for you," until I share my story of what I've gone through, and so it's like I haven't had the easiest life. It's not like my life journey was just this seamless thing. I mean, I've gone through homelessness. I've gone through heartbreaks that just devastated me. I've gone through being someone who and I don't like to use the word survive, but have grown through and evolved through and healed through having cervical cancer, and then also having a total abdominal hysterectomy. And so when you go through all of these different things in life, you start to question yourself, and you start to ask and think, oh my gosh, I feel so broken. I don't feel like the woman that I am, or I'm not connected to that part. But that's when the rituals become so vital and so important, because it supports your evolution and it supports your growth and it supports your healing and it supports you being able to not look like what you have been through. And so I wanted to share that piece because I think before we can share about what our rituals are, you have to really take a look and reflect on all of what you have gone through and realize this one important thing, that yes, you've gone through all of that, but you're standing right now. And
Yes.
because you're standing here right now, that shows your internal power to be able to transmute and shift and evolve and grow past all of those things, those traumas and those fears and those things that come about, so that you can just be in your divine essence. And so for me, a part of my ritual, my daily rituals, one, I give gratitude to everything. I give gratitude to the traumas. I give gratitude to the stumbles, the challenges. I give gratitude to my fears, to my doubts. I give gratitude for that awakening within me. So I look in, I transmute all of that, and I say those were not things to deter me or to make me fail or to make me those were things to help me to shift and pivot into this next evolution, into this next phase of my life. And so I give gratitude to that journey, and then I give gratitude for all of the things that I do have, all the great things that's in my life, because I think sometimes we focus so much on gratitude of what we have that's good, that we neglect what what may have felt like challenges or been challenges, and that has moved us into a space of being in this gratitude. So we give gratitude to that. So that's one of the things, is I give gratitude on a daily basis. And sometimes it's difficult to hold gratitude and grief at the same time, or gratitude and fear at the same time. But when you have certain tools, you're able to navigate the two. So gratitude is first and foremost. And in that gratitude, what I do is I do meditative practice and journaling, in which I write out the things that I'm grateful for. But I also sit in deep meditation. I'm a big proponent for meditative practice. And so for me, I get the most clarity when I'm meditating. And meditation can come in many forms. Not everyone can sit for 10, 15, 30 minutes an hour in meditation and just stillness. Sometimes a part of meditation means you may be in the shower and you do a water meditation while you're in the shower, because maybe that water is helping to cleanse your body, helping to cleanse your energetic biofield, helping to wash away the things where you feel that heaviness, so that you can hear and listen for the clarity that comes through. Sometimes the meditative practice may be grounding, in which you take your shoes off and you're just walking in nature and you're connecting to the earth mother, and you're able to just say, let me just walk in this meditative walk so that I can release what needs to be released and bring myself into a space of receiving. And so so finding the right meditative technique, so to speak, or the meditative way that works best for you, I think is vital. But meditation should be a daily practice for sure. The other aspects is I utilize are different things where I bring sound frequencies in. And sometimes it's like I need to have the sound frequencies, in which it could be like binaural beats or a sound bath or something along those lines. Either I listen to it while I'm sleeping when I really need to clear and get centered and recalibrate myself, or I'll have it playing while I'm doing my daily chores. If I'm cleaning, it's in the background and it's playing. Or even in my sacred work, when I'm writing an article, or you know, you know, planning for a retreat, I may have it in the background, so that it just keeps me energetically aligned.
Right.
And so that's another way in which I practice that, are as a part of my ritual. And I also do a mirror work ritual. We look in the mirror every day, but being intentional with the way in which you look at yourself. I look, whenever I go in, I brush my teeth, I look, and then I just pause for a moment, and I just affirm to myself how proud I am of the journey that you've gone on, and who you are. And then even in this state of of this cycle of my life, I look at my body. I'm like, my body is not what it used to be. I don't have my 20, 30, even my 40-year-old body anymore. It's like 50 hit. And then after 50, my body just said, there are certain parts that says, we're going to move down south. We're not going to be up north anymore. It's just, you know, and then just finding the beauty and the joy in that. So I'll sit and I'll look and just reflect on my body, and just being in beauty and wonder, and like loving all of the curves and all of the whatever it may be, wherever it may be, wherever my body is. That's I honor her and tell her how beautiful she is and how amazing she is, and giving gratitude for her, for this vessel of mine being able to move through this part of my life. And so I think those are some of the key practices that I do have on a daily basis. Is the meditation first and foremost, always meditation. Before I even get out of bed, I'll usually put one hand on my heart, one hand on my womb, and I just say thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you for this arising, for opening, for my eyes opening, giving thanks and gratitude to the sun for its warmth and its activation and its nourishment, giving thanks and gratitude to all of the elements that surround, that allows us to breathe, that allows us to move, that allows us to be, and just being in that gratitude before I even get out. So sometimes it'll take me a moment to leave my bed,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's okay. And I would say my other practice is I put my phone on do not disturb in the mornings. And so I don't take any phone calls unless I know that it's a call that is a meeting, that's the only time that we could do, or if I'm teaching a class or something. But I give that time to myself. It's like I'm not doing any work, I'm not taking any calls, I'm not doing anything. So my phone will be on do not disturb. And do not disturb is like one of the best things. and
Yes.
I've discovered is do not disturb. And so I put myself on do not disturb. So and I don't I don't bend from that. And I give myself sacred days in which this is my day. This is my day where I'm not doing anything. I'm not, I'm just gonna, if it means I'm just gonna veg out and binge something on TV, or if I'm just gonna be present with my partner or whatever it may be, but I give myself these moments where I say, I just need to just be present in my own energy, my own light, my own care. And I think that's vital, is to always make time for you first, because it's like when you fly, the thing that they tell you is like when the oxygen mask drops, you have to put it on yourself first, because you can't serve the person who is around you if you are struggling. And so I know that I can't serve my clients. I can't serve in my fullest capacity if I'm not pouring into myself first. So that is a practice that I do not bend on. And I give myself grace and permission in knowing that it's okay to just step away for a day, especially when I start to feel, okay, I'm feeling a little burnout right now. I'm feeling a little out of harmony, out of alignment. Let me shift and let me just take this day. If it means I need rest, I have to give myself permission to rest. If it means that I just need to be still, I'm going to give myself permission to be still. And I wasn't always like that. When I was in corporate, I was team no sleep. I was burn the midnight oil. I was wearing it like a badge of honor. It's like
Right.
I only need 3, 4 hours of sleep. No, let me get my full rest.
Yes.
Let me just be, because when I emerge so much more powerfully and so much more vibrant and so much more alive and so much more in attune with just my natural being. And so because of that, I don't get angry easily. Things don't trigger me. Things don't like rub me the wrong way. It takes a lot to really shift me into a space of disharmony, because I value my alignment, I value my harmony, I value my peace. And because of that, I incorporate all of the practices that supports me in doing that.
Thank you so much for sharing that. I just want to take a moment and just, ladies, just take that in,
Mhm.
because what Angelica shared, many of us don't even practice one of them. One of them.
Mhm.
And as you move along this menopause journey, it is important to honor yourself and put yourself in a place that you are filling your cup. Sometimes we
Mhm.
don't even realize that our cup is empty.
It's empty.
Empty.
I know, because and it's I wanna say this too, that it's okay to say no to things when you know that you're at your capacity. It doesn't mean that that person or that thing isn't, that you don't value it, you just don't have the capacity to do so. And so
Right.
I know that sometimes we struggle with that. I struggle with that. Being a giver, being someone who loves being of service, being someone who is like, "Yeah, I can take this on and do this," and we put on these, as women we think we're superwoman, and we are like supernatural women, but it doesn't mean that we don't have our kryptonite. It doesn't mean that we don't have the things that kind of can bring us down. So we have to really nourish ourselves, and we have to be okay with saying, at this moment, as much as I would love to support you, I don't have the capacity to do so. And when I do have the capacity, I will let you know. But right now, only thing that I can do is support you from afar. And those words are magical, and people usually understand. And people will respond to you when you start to show up in that way, and they'll respond to you differently, and they'll start talking to you differently because they understand, oh, I can't just come and just get anything that I
Boundaries.
want. Yeah, it's those healthy boundaries and those healthy um things that supports you in your evolution. We have to stop trying to take on every single solitary thing. And like when our plate is full, it doesn't mean go grab two and three and four more plates and then surround you with all these full plates of things and you can't eat it because you're just looking at it like, oh my goodness. And so it's important that we pour into ourselves and then allow that pouring and all of what comes over that flow to just continue to flow. And it's also important as a sisterhood in which we pour into each other, especially when we can see that our sister may be in a space of overwhelm. It's like, how can you show up to support her without depleting yourself, but being there to support them as well. And sometimes it could be the smallest things. It could be something like, let me just check in on you. I just want to see how you're doing. I know and I see how much you give to the community and to others. I want to give something to you. It could be something like, I'm just going to send you a Starbucks, or I'm going to send you like some tea, or let's just go for a walk, or any of those things. Those small things matter because it supports us and each other as we are doing the work that we're doing. And so I think that's probably another ritual in which I think we should incorporate as women, especially in this phase of our lives, because woo, sometimes sometimes when those menopausal things start happening, when you're in your personal winters and summers, or you're feeling certain things, there's things in which we can support each other and just love up on each other, and that love on each other goes so far, and it's so
Yeah.
powerful. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I think community is so important as we're navigating this, and that's one of the reasons for the podcast and the sexy side of menopause, to bring
Mm.
women together in conversation where we can support each other and talk about our individual
Mhm.
experience, in addition to the success and how our life's unfolding and how we're doing such
Yes.
amazing things in this next chapter of our lives.
Mhm.
So before we close out, I cannot believe our time is coming to an end.
Wow.
Talk about like some of the traveling that you've done and the retreats
Yeah.
that you hold, because I'm sure women are going to be wanting to have their names in that community, or either on a waiting list for one of those
Come
locations.
on.
I am
Come
all
on.
about Egypt now. That's where I'm
Come
leaning.
on.
I need
Come
that
on. We have
energy
a few
for
more
Egypt.
spots available. Come and join us. Definitely join us because some amazing things. So the traveling that we have been doing, and one of the things is like just traveling the world. I know that I've always wanted to do this. So the retreats are destination retreats. And these retreats each have their own individual theme. Morocco was about connecting to that ancient wisdom and that ascension. And then there's Costa Rica, which is next month, which is the Tantric Alchemy retreat. And what that is that's a women's only retreat. And that's for women to be able to connect with themselves in a way that they haven't connected either in a long time, or they've neglected, or they've forgotten about. So this is a reawakening of our essence. Is connecting to that understanding of what it means to be in your feminine energy, what it means to just be, what it looks like, in that your way of being in your feminine energy doesn't have to look like my way. It's really tapping into your authentic self. It's understanding your how to embody your essence in a way that's healing. So looking at what needs to be healed, be it the heartbreak. So we'll talk about heartache, and we'll talk about the things that we quote unquote say, oh, that broke me, or that brokenness, and redefining brokenness, because I have a beautiful relationship with brokenness. I've redefined it. I've looked at it as a way of being a mosaic. And so when you look at a mosaic is broken pieces of glass that came together to create this beautiful, one of a kind mosaic masterpiece. We are a masterpiece. And so that brokenness is just pieces that came through to say, okay, we're going to bring awareness to this, that relationship may not have worked, but there was something that you learned from it. And so the teachings is the gold that weaves in between all of the broken pieces and brings it together. So that's your healing. That's your understanding of your life. That's the understanding of the journey that you've walked. And so that's what this retreat in Costa Rica is about, is really coming into that fullness, that embodiment of understanding of your divine feminine energy, understanding of the things that are pleasurable in your life, the things that you need to heal and move through and heal through, and the things that you want to awaken within you and that you want to emerge from. So that's what that retreat is. And then we move into Egypt, which is our Kemet retreat. Yes, that retreat is going to be so phenomenal. One, because of the time of year in which we're going in that time of year where the cycles are changing. So we're in that winter solstice cycle where things are shifting out of that darkness into the light. And it's really that time in which the true, like, depending on your idea of the calendar year and the true year,
Yeah.
where we're moving into this last cycle and we're shifting that. And so being on those sacred lands and walking into the temples, we're going to be connecting to the codes that's within us, that knowledge that's within us, understanding of your journey and of yourself, understanding of this awakening, and being aligned with that. And so it's more than just the land itself. It's your connection, but it's your connection to who you are. And so this retreat is just going to be so powerful and so abundant as we're going to be cruising down the Nile. When I was in Kemet for my 50th solar return, I will never forget the experiences. You To explain it is difficult because you really have to be there to experience it. I felt myself shifting through time and space. I felt myself in different aspects of my past lives, depending on what your belief system is. For me, I do believe in reincarnation and past lives and things. And so for me, I felt all of that. I felt this full awakening of who I am and who I always been. And so for me, it was like, wow, I would sun gaze with this sun that's sitting here, and I can feel these codes just being activated within me. I can feel the knowledge and wisdom that's been passed down from generation to generation activating and coming into the now within me. And so it's so powerful, and I would say it's just a powerful journey to take. And it's a healing journey to take, because before I went to Kemet, there were things that I needed to heal from. And when I returned from it, I returned emerged even more expansive and even more embodied in this essence in who I am right now. And so I'm really grateful for that journey. And that's why I wanted to bring others to experience the same thing, to be able to really connect to everything and every aspect of themselves in a way that's they're in their power. That's what it really is. It's really connecting to your inner power and connecting to
It's like
your
it's
highest self.
divine.
It's
Yeah.
just so divine. It's just so divine. So it's a spiritual awakening, but it's also an internal awakening of yourself as well as healing, because it's very healing. Those grounds are very healing. The water, the Nile River water was very, very healing. I brought back water with me, and that water has stayed clear, literally has stayed clear. I've had that water for 3 years now, and it still has its full clarity and its full essence, because I use that in some of my when I'm doing some of my clearing rituals. But it is so powerful, and it's a power in which we just can't articulate fully. You just have to experience it. So there's a few spots available. That one is everything is on my website. That one is a longer retreat journey, but it's an expansive and powerful retreat for sure. So I invite all those, whatever one you feel called to, come
I want to
on.
go
And
to
then I
all of them.
have
I want to go to all of them.
okay. Come on, come on. I invite you to join us. I would love to have you there at a part of this journey. I know when we were in Morocco, I had 15, it was a 15 of us that was traveling through Marrakesh in Morocco. And that was such a transformative experience for those who journeyed that journey with us. And so this work it's just so amazing. And I'm so honored and so grateful for even being able to be that facilitator, that co creator, to be able to walk this path with so many women and see that transformation, see them emerge from their chrysalis and be able to really fly and be able to really stand into fullness in their embodied self. They're walking into a room with grace and elegance and radiance and just alignment with their truth, with their authenticity. So, yeah.
Man, I just feel like I've had a spiritual experience here. You have been
Mm,
given such a mantle and you are moving
mm,
so graciously and
thank
elegantly.
you.
And I want to acknowledge
Thank
all that
you.
you do to help women along this journey. Thank you
Mm,
for everything that you've shared here. I'm
mm,
just so full. So please
thank
let the ladies
you.
know your website, your contact
Mhm,
information, how they can follow you,
mm.
because I'm sure after this experience, you're going to have more women that are going to be in your community.
Come on, let's just bring all of our kids. We become a global community of all of us together, traveling this world and just activating all of us around this globe, because we're all connected. We've always been connected. There's this beautiful energetic thread that and pattern, this weaving of energy that connects us all, which is why when we open ourselves to receive, these sisters show up. You showed up. You showed up for me, and I showed up for you, because we're divine reflections of each other. And so I'm just grateful for that walk and that journey with you, and the work that you are doing in this podcast that you've created. So thank you for bringing light to an area in which light needs to be brought into. And thank you for walking your journey and saying yes to your gifts. So thank you for that. As far as like being able to see me or connect with me, you can connect with me I'm on Instagram. Um, I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on all those places. So on Instagram, you can find me at empressangelique.belevated now, as well as my business Instagram, which is Be Elevated Now, Belevated now, NOW. You can, and that's also for TikTok. You can also find me on my website, where a lot of what I'm doing and what I do, all my retreats, that's for this year. The ones for next year, there are pre-registrations for some of the ones that are for next year that are coming up. But my courses, my coaching, my retreats are all on my website, which is Be Elevated. So www.beelevated, B-E with one E, BELEVATEDLLC.com. You can find information there. And I think that was all of it. So those are ways
Well,
in which
I
you
will
can
make
reach
sure
me.
all of your information is in the show notes. I just wanted to have it
Thank
out and
you.
also be able to have it in a written form that I can provide
Yeah.
so all of the ladies who are interested in following up to you, joining
Mhm.
your spiritual movement, they know how to reach you again.
Thank
Angelique,
you.
I am so grateful for
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you so, so much. And I'm grateful as well. So thank you for all of what you do. Thank you for having me on your podcast, The Sexy Side of Menopause. You know, I'm like, ooh, I know I'm sexy. So I'm glad she can recognize the sexy in me. No.
Absolutely 100% and more.
No, and more. That's it. That is it. So, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. Thank you so much for your light and for your gifts and who you are. I'm in gratitude. Thank you to your audience for receiving me and for listening to my journey and my story. And just this conversation. I'm in gratitude for this conversation. I appreciate you and all the work that you do. So,
Perfect. Well, ladies, I again thank you for being with us on the Sexy Side of Menopause. I am your host of the Sexy Side of Menopause. I'm Beverly Whitlow. I'm the CEO of Beverly Hills Health and Wellness Coaching, where I help women just like you to break through the
mhm.
stigma of menopause and lean into a fabulous, confident, and sexy new vision of themselves through the sexy side of menopause. Thank you for being here,
I
ladies.
see.
Take you.
Mhm. Beautiful.